Greetings from the farm. Hope you're well. Today's video is one that fills me with a lot of joy. I'm looking at all the progress that has happened in the pine trees that we planted in February 2020 when we first came to the farm, and this was our first project. So what we're going to do on this video is look at the pines that we planted in February 2020, have a look around, see what's happening all around me here on this 2-hectare block, as well as take a look at the Casuarinas that we planted the following year, 2021, as well as the Eucalyptuses, and see how everything is going. Today's theme is standing among the big guys. Stay with us. It's hard to believe that these big guys I'm standing around today are the same ones that we planted in February of 2020. This is our pine crop of 2020. Some of you will have seen our video from February 2020 that shows how we started the pine plantation. So as you can see, we've got some amazing guys that are really standing very tall and true, and averaging height of around about 2 meters.
I'm almost 2 meters, 2.5 tall. And the stem really.
So if this was a school classroom, this would be the guy who's getting 100 out of 100.
Yes.
Manja wajameni who are just struggling. Our average now.
These are the classy excellent, they just clear. No my classy, but they just clear.
An interesting thing about these particular ones is that having been planted in February of 2020, and this is now May of 2022, they are like 2 and a bit years old. So the technical term that we use to refer to these ones is they're called third years. So they are in their third years. Now, it's actually taken us quite a little bit of time to get used to that terminology, third year. But yeah, these are the third years. Well, I guess if it was like university, then they would be in their third year, wouldn't they? So that's basically how it is. So taking a look at a typical one of the bigger ones, you've got a woody stem, which is about maybe 30-40 centimeters, if I can use my finger as a guide. And then it stems down, and then you've got the leaves, the branches and the leaves. And as you know, with pine, what we really want in a couple of years, well, in quite a few years actually, is this guy. This is the timber, pine timber that we're going to be selling for buildings and construction and that sort of thing. That's what pine is for. Pine is, of course, one of the most common plantation crops commercially grown, and it takes around 14 to 15 years to start harvesting. That's a long time to wait. So this is a long-term investment that we're really hoping as a family will be able to do something for us in years to come. Here's another big guy, very tall. Look at that, very thick stem. We've got some leaves down there, and it's going all the way. So all around me, as you can see, is this beautiful, beautiful sight of these big, tall guys that are standing tall and proud. As with nature, not everybody is big and tall. There are some smaller people. And in Zambia, we have an expression which we call presidential height. I won't go into the details, but those of you who are Zambian and know the history of our people who've occupied State House will know that the expression presidential height is one that can be ascribed to someone of this stature. So when you compare some of the big guys and some of the little guys, it's the thing. So nature is always going to give you these variations, and it's they will grow over time, maybe not as big as these ones, but they will grow. It really is quite amazing how well these pine trees from 2020 have grown. We're reaching the stage whereby you can actually almost start feeling the shade from some of them. Pine, as they grow, of course, you basically plant them very, very, very small, as we've seen in the other videos, and they will grow tall. They go up to about 20, 30 something meters. And then at some point, I think it's around about the 5th year or so, you get what we call canopy closure. And that's when all the canopies of all the trees start meeting. So taking a quick look at how they're actually spaced. So first of all, they're in 2x2 grids. So that's 2 meters from here to there, and 2 meters and 2 meters, and then 2 meters and 2 meters. So they're in 2x2 grids in this particular one. Quick comment, in the following year, this current year, 2022, we planted at 2.7 as we were advised, because that is a width that's going to allow a tractor to come in through here and do some of the clearing and stuff. Right now we're having to do it manually, and I need to talk about that actually. So having a look here, you can actually see, if I'm from where I'm standing down this thing, you've got one line of the pine trees here, and then 2 meters away you've got this one, and each one of them has got enough room for sunlight to hit it and for it to grow. The issue of how you space pine trees and other commercial trees is always one that there's a lot of debate about, but we went for a 2x2 because we feel that's going to give us enough spacing for the trees to actually start growing long and tall. If you grow them a little bit at a wider spacing, let's say 3 meters, 3.5, then you get a big bushy tree, and what we want is a long, tall stem. Because remember, we're selling the stem. As I always say on the Mondo Farms channel, we're in it for the money. Yes, we're enjoying ourselves and having a transformed lives as we do all of this agricultural stuff. But at the end of the day, passion doesn't pay the bills, especially when you're old and you're dealing with huge medical bills and, trying to leave a legacy for a family. So we have to look after ourselves. So anyway, look. We're here and we're looking at this long, tall guy. If you think about it, when these guys are growing and they start growing taller and taller, and each one catches up to the other, everybody's looking for sunlight. So where do they find sunlight? They find it up. So they keep going up and up and up and up. And that's one of the things that we're seeing here. So speaking of presidential height, here's a little guy. One that is still got a little bit of a way to go, and you can see these fresh new leaves that have just come. Let me just get rid of a little bit of that. Weeding never stops, as we say. It's always an interloper. Oh my God. Yeah, in Zambia we have a thing about kadas. It's a thing. It's part of our history. Hopefully that we've managed to deal with somehow, but it's a work in progress. Hopefully they don't come back. But here he is, this little guy here, and you can see the fresh leaves here, and then there's a dry one there, and it's coming, and you've got all these growth points here. So once you've planted the trees, you're now waiting for them to grow, and of course you've got to look after them in a certain way. Pine trees themselves, as well as the other commercial tree crops we grow, Casuarina and Eucalyptus, are pretty straightforward. You don't need to really fertilize them. You basically have to look at two major aspects. One is termites and the other is fire. Now when we talk about fire, this is why we have this arrangement here, which we call line weeding. And this is exactly what we mean by line weeding. So we weed along the lines, along this line here, and we clear the vegetation up in the middle. By the way, this vegetation that's here is going to decompose and then add more nutrients into the soil. So that's one of the main advantages of line weeding. But you can actually see the lines. They're going like this. Of course, if you can see that, the slope of the land here is falling this way. Right? It's falling this way. So we put our lines against the thing, sort of semi-following the contours as best as you can. And then when the rainwater comes, surface water comes, it comes and it gets trapped in these, and then it goes down in this one. Line weeding is done periodically. Sometimes we do it at the beginning of the rain season, and then this time, being mid-May, is when we're just working through the line weeding of the commercial trees to protect them before what we call the fire season. The fire season is when the grass is very dry and people start fires. Why they start fires, I don't know. But they start fires. I don't know. Anyway. But just fire is one of those things. Fire also does start naturally. But I'm still yet to be convinced about that, really. But the line weeding does tend to protect us against the fire dangers as it is. Okay. So it's pretty plain to see how we're doing the line weeding here. We'll have a look at one of the other teams that's working in the one of the eucalyptus blocks. So the line weeding is important, and here is a place where you see the slope of the ground actually changes. So behind me on this side, the lines are going this way because they're taking the major slope from up that hill here. But if I turn around, you can see that this land slopes down there towards the Alaska stream. It's Alaska over there, by the way. And there we change, and the line weeding now starts turning this way. Cornrows, mukule, whatever, but it's basically effective. So in here, we're now taking the major slope of the ground is going this way, so the actual lines have actually changed, and now you see those ones, they're going that way, and these ones are going this way. Sometimes when I'm shooting videos, it's hard to know if what I'm talking about is actually graphically effectively being communicated, but I hope you can see what I'm talking about. So here again, you can see where the actual two gradients converge. So on this side, the slope is from there coming down here, and the lines are going this way. And on this side, we're sloping down towards the Alaska stream down there. So we change it, and then we bring them and we put the lines, the contours in this way. Another important issue that we have when it comes to how we set up these commercial tree plantation areas is basically the block thing. So you have this block here, it's hard to say from down here, and then around it you have what we call fire break, which also serves as an access road for us as we're going. Then we left this windbreaker here of natural trees, and we'll see how they grow over the next few years. But here you can see this, as we call a road. Now we have to periodically maintain this. Sometimes we use a TLB when we have a TLB at the farm, and then also we also do slash through manually. You can actually see it down here as well. So the fire breaks, which we call marodi, they are also very, very, very important, because last time, if you may recall, there was a little video, one of the videos we featured, where a fire came, and it basically came in from this end and stopped here and didn't really go into the fire. A solar panel. The solar panels are always found wherever our team is working. They use them to charge their phones and to charge the little radios that they use to keep themselves occupied. It's part of our culture. So here's another one of our fire breaks and roads. This one's going down deeper into the plantations. Now on this side, you see these big beautiful guys? These are eucalyptuses. Eucalyptus from February of 2021. And this is one of the crops here on the farm that we really count as a success. They have grown well. Shall we go in and see? Yeah. This is working. So eucalyptus is not pine. They're a different family. Eucalyptuses come from Australasia, as they're all over Australia, but they're now grown commercially around the world. Yes, very controversial, eucalyptus, water table issues, etc., etc. But up here where we are, there's really no issues with water table and stuff, especially being up on the hill, we think. And also, I need to make money, okay? As any commercial farmer will tell you, yes, I know, but I need to make money. So as I was saying, eucalyptus is not pine. And pine, as I said earlier, is basically grown for timber, for construction timber. Eucalyptuses, the ones around me, these are grown for fence posts and electricity poles and other types of long things. So what we want here as well is a long straight stem, and nothing has been as successful as the eucalyptuses for that. So that's what we have all around me here. So eucalyptuses are grown for their wood, which grows in a long tall stem. They go up to around about 15, 20, 25, 30 meters, whatever. And they are, what we use them for mostly is cables, is cable poles to hold up poles and stuff. And here in Zambia, we have a real shortage of electricity cable, internet cable poles. So which is why we're investing all this time and effort into growing these ones. When are we going to harvest these? So there's this story that we've been told as we've been researching that you can harvest eucalyptus from 7 years. Let's see what happens. If this is the growth that we're getting in just over a year and a half, then yeah, they could be saying something. I mean, just look at this. This is me. I'm a normal 1.75 average African human being, and this guy is going slightly well above me. So yeah, we are hoping for that. I'm not one of those people that does farming by theory. I've never done business like that with all sorts of plans and projections and stuff. That's for accountants. I'm not an accountant. Definitely not an accountant. I love accountants, by the way, but I'm not an accountant. So we plant and we grow our farm by experience, and we see how we're going, because one thing I personally feel is that the people who've been farming for years and years and years, and traditions and generations, they know their particular crops. They know how things go and what you should do when and how you should do things. So we're also learning, even in the last 3 years that we've been doing this, quite a lot about what it takes to actually grow a lot of the crops that we're doing. This patch actually is where we have, I think, some of our most successful of the Eucalyptus 21 crops. It is happening. We've got good growth, good establishment, height, volume. Let's find one with a very, very thick trunk. There's one. Looks to be a specimen worth specimenizing over. And yeah, so quite a thing. Bend down and put my arm in there, my hand in there, and you can see how thick the thing is. It's almost the size of my wrist. Wow. So that's one of the bigger ones. There are little ones, of course, as we keep saying. Nature will give you differences in height and growth and stuff, and even ones that are really struggling. Here's one that's really struggling. Hello, little struggler. How are you? So what we do to say if the tree is still alive is we normally break off a little bit of the tip and see if it's dry. Okay, that looks pretty dry. Oh, no, it's still okay. It's still okay. You might see some shoots coming out, but that's how it is. It's a numbers game. Definitely a numbers game. So earlier I was describing the line weeding and showing you the results of it. And as you can see, the team is here with us now, and they've been working on this one. Again, we have the slope that's coming down here, and they're putting the contours, the ridges against that, and taking a very closer look at the guys actually doing the line weeding. It's pretty much a hard manual job. These guys have been doing it for a while, so they kind of know. So each one of them has taken a line, and so they're working in pairs. You can see Joseph and Washimonoka there, and they are both clearing on their side. This one is missing a guy, and we have another team that's here working on this line. Apparently the rule is you don't talk when the boss is around. I don't know, they were talking and I came along and they just went quiet. No more discussions about football, about politics, about women, about cars, about existential theories of the existence of humanity. None of that, just silence. I don't know. So I'm walking deeper into the plantations area and just taking a quick second to enjoy the view of some of our property here. Let's take a look. So I'm standing in plantations now where I am, and there's a stream that's down here. You can't really see it, I think, from the angle that you have. And then we have across there, we have Alaska. And across then there's another stream over there. Let me see if I hope you can see that. And then over there we have another plot that we call Canada. And I think, hopefully if I can zoom in there, you can actually see the line weeding was done, because we've planted some eucalyptuses and some pines in blocks over there. Here on our farm, what we do is on the good soil that we can plant, that's especially down in the valleys and stuff, we plant vegetables. And then on the rocky, hard outcrops and up on the hills is where we plant our eucalyptus, pine, and casuarina. So just looking back where I was coming from, this is the main road here, another fire break, and then there's a little anthill here. Somewhere around here is a borehole point that I actually ran over the other day, because sometimes we run over things. It's a little beacon that we had put, and it still haunts me to this day. So walking up closer to one of the areas where the guys are coming, so you can see the line weeding team is over there, and then they are still coming into this area. So rather than disturb the conversations with philosophy, politics and economics that may be going on there, let's take a second to have a quick look at these particular eucalyptus trees, this big batch of guys that are right here. We also have Presidential Height here, and right behind there is a tolo. And you see that tolo? Oof, big guy. So here's a closer look at some of the trees here. I'm not sure what they're, this is a tree. Maybe a botanist or whatever it is would give you a better sort of commentary as to what he sees in the plant entomology, pathology, and all the other ologies. As a famous Maureen Lipman character once said in the legendary BT advert from the 80s. But anyway, so here we are. Very, very tall guy. Let me pan around and see if I can show you how tall this guy is compared to me. Yeah, there he is. He's a tall guy. Let me. Raise my hand. Teacher me. No. Yeah, he's a big tall guy. I'm standing next to him. Soon, he'll actually be able to give me a canopy that I'll be covered in and shaded against the elements. But generally the eucalyptus crop that we planted in 2021 was a major success. 2021 was a tough year where the pine that we planted, especially up at Clinton, that didn't work out at all. And we'll be talking about that in another video and looking at how we we replaced it in 2022, but we didn't have to do very much here on this particular area. Look down, you can see the miala. Look at this. Hopefully you can see this from my feet here. Nice, beautiful, rocky ground, and this is the stuff that these eucalyptuses that we have here love. It might be different in your area where you are, but we've had a lot of great success with growing eucalyptus on hard, rocky ground. It finds its way and it makes the plant. Could be something to do with competition from weeds and stuff, Katwish, but for us it works, so we don't ask too many questions. So as you know, here on the Mondo Farms channel, we talk about everything and we share all our experiences, the happy, the sad, the good and the bad. And here's an interesting one for you. Here, there, you can see by that tall natural tree there, and you see the eucalyptuses that have been planted in here, growing and thriving really well. And then it all comes down, and there's an area here where it just ain't happening. It just didn't happen. So we basically had to come back in with some of our new eucalyptus seedlings from 22 and replant in some of this stuff. We call it gapping, they call it beating up, all this type of thing. Now here is an example of one. Perfect example of one of the ones that was replanted. Can you see this, I hope? Everything. And when trees are transplanted, they have what's called transplant shock, and then they have to sort of take a little bit of time, and then they come back to themselves. And look, the new leaves, my new leaf, and we love new leaves. The new leaves are showing that, yep, this tree has revived and it's growing up again. So here's a new leaf. Yeah, so this one is gonna be okay. Give them a little bit of time. You can see a little bit of drying here. If I break that, it's totally dry here on top, because when it was having challenges after the transplant or whatever, these stems and stuff, the stem and the branch here dried out, but the new leaf is coming from here, so the new growth will come from this side. So all around me are these ones. You can't really see them. It's one of the characteristics of eucalyptus, is that you don't see it until it's grown. So occasionally you have to sort of look for them, and they're there and they're waiting for the new regrowth, and we'll see how this particular one goes. So this area here, as we fall down the hill, is amazing because the old eucalyptus grew well in some areas, then others it didn't. Growing a tree plantation is a numbers game. You just basically have to throw a lot of seedlings down in the ground, and because it's nature, they basically do what they're doing to do. And yes, some will die, and you can't sit there crying about each and every one. No, it's a numbers game. You just gotta say, we're gonna get out of maybe what, 6,000 or 8,000, you know, X amount will come through the first year, second year, third year, and you gotta keep going and keep going. It is a long game. So as we come down the hill, as we go down the slopes down here, this is another one of those areas where we beat up and we put in the replanted eucalyptuses. And there was another piece of interesting work here where we had to put in the casuarinas, and we had to beat up in the casuarinas as well and sort of retransplant and rearrange some of the blocks as they had done. You can see the casuarinas over there. They are those long dark green things that you're seeing there. But there's more casuarinas that I'm going to show you over on that side as I cross over. You're getting the extent of the place. We're talking hectares here, not this 1 hectare, 2 hectare, my hectares. So that's how it is. This is a big numbers game, which is this issue of tree planting, commercial tree planting. Coming back up over the hill, and I'm entering another one of the blocks. This is another eucalyptus block that we did in 2021, and another one here as well. We had to do quite a lot of reworking and replanting here. And as I go here, look, here's another one. Small little guy. Hello, little guy, how are you? And another tall, slim one, which is what we need. Is there any preference for us between the little, short, stocky types? If this was a rugby team, there would be the what? The guys in the scrum, those big guys in the scrum. And then these are the long, thin guys that you sent up to get the thing. Number 8, I think, normally be the tallest, to get the throw-in. I digress as I talk about rugby in the middle of a eucalyptus plantation. Forgive me. We always appreciate having people join us here on the Mondo Farms channel. People who've come to appreciate what we do. And if you're finding value in what we're sharing with you on this video, then please press the like button. That's the thumbs up thing. You can also subscribe to the channel, as well as share the video, or else you can also make a comment. You can even do all 4. So on top of this hill, more rocky ground. Again, very successful. My guys they're growing well. The line weeding has been done here as well, but it's a continuous process because weeds, by their very nature, like political party does, will always come back. So you have to be always on the lookout for them. And they come to compete with your preferred organism that you want. So we just have to keep going with the line weeding as much as we can. Over there is what I'm very excited to share with you. One of the places that we've had a very, very, very big success. So over here now, I'm walking towards the Casuarinas, one of the blocks of Casuarina. And Casuarina is an interesting plant. Personally, I like it. A lot of people don't know about it. They don't talk about it. Is there like a Facebook page for Casuarina or a WhatsApp group for Casuarina? I don't know. But I like Casuarina. It just looks nice and tall and big and green and healthy. And look at that. Look at this, guys. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, so Casuarina, another commercial crop, tree crop that is planted for its long, thin stems, and it grows very fast, actually. So I can see maybe in the future it's starting to give the eucalyptus a little bit of a run for its money. But in the meantime, we're still in the early game, And let's take a closer look at these Casuarinas here. So here's a particular batch of Casuarina, and the line weeding is coming in here soon. They haven't come, and when they do, they will destroy that patch, this piece of organic matter, and they'll come through. There was some line weeding done earlier in the year, and then as you can see, these chaps grow again because weeds. Oh man, the weeds. Oh, I got issues with weeds. Should I take therapy for my issues with weeds? No, I just hate them. Here's a big tall Casuarina tree. I should do the whole height thing, shouldn't I? Let's try. Let's find some. Is it fair that I go and find the tallest one and then say how tall it is? Or should I just like randomly walk around and say, whoa, these guys are tall? Yeah, I think there you can see sort of the scope of the height of the guy. My fingers can't even reach up at the top there. Oh man. So this is really working. The Casuarinas here on this area. I need to take you to what was the anthill. And there was this famous video of earth moving machinery eating an anthill. Goboli. And here on the anthill, very little has grown. Anthills are an amazing thing that one day I'm sure some PhD theses or doctorates have been written about anthills, because anthills are anthills. There was an anthill here. You can see the orangish dirt, and very little has grown. Very little can grow on an anthill, sort of. But some crops grow on anthills, and we're still figuring it out. But maybe it's full of termites, but I think we do spray quite a lot of termicide, so we see. But that's me and anthills. Beautiful sound of the wind whistling through the trees. Whistling through the trees, I like that. We should use a sound effect or something. Here it comes again. Listen to that whistle. I'm not a full-time farmer, as many of you who know about me will know. So I have other businesses that I run, quite a large scope of things, and my job is very stressful. And it's got different pressures and stuff. I mean, yesterday was interesting. So sometimes I come out here on the farm and I'm able to stand here amongst whistling Casuarina trees and growing vegetables and stuff, and it gives you a little bit of stress relief and stuff. Also knowing that I'm doing something important for the future on a long-term thing. So yeah, I like being out here in the Chongwe River Valley at my farm, watching the trees grow, though they grow very slowly, but you can still watch them grow if you want. A little bit of stress relief for you, for me, anyway. So these are some of the ones from 21. The tall guys, you can see, the tall guys there. These are from 21, and a lot of them grew very well until issues, as we were saying. And then we look here, there was another group that didn't grow well, and some eucalyptuses that didn't work out. The issues, why don't they work out? Let's now portion the blame. There are a lot of issues. A lot of it is to do with rain. We've had interesting and varying rainfall patterns. Thank you very much, climate change. And so sometimes the time you plant, then the rain stops, and then it becomes a challenge. But in any case, we as farmers around the world, we're just having to be constantly up in our game and being on our game to see how the world is changing and how things are happening. So here we did have an issue of rainfall. That was an interesting one just after we planted. So this year's rains again were they were not ideal. Then we'll have to see how it goes in 22 into 23. Walking amongst the eucalyptus blocks and feeling irate. Beautiful Saturday lunchtime-ish. Wind is, I was going to say blowing through my hair, but that hasn't happened for a long while, nor will it ever. But yeah, feeling it. Eucalyptus, Casuarina down there. Yeah. So here's another block of the eucalyptus. A bit of geography. The pines, 2020s are over there, the third years. And these are the second year eucalyptuses. Some of the second year eucalyptuses anyway. And again, more of the nice gravelly miala, and the guys are thriving. One of the other questions I get asked quite often is whether or not one has to water trees, whether it's pine, eucalyptus or Casuarina. And the Benga answer is no. We don't normally water or irrigate these trees. When I first asked this question and I started back in 2019 into 20, I was told, no, these are trees, fimuti. In natural circumstances, they wouldn't thingy, and then not having water for X amount of months in a year is part of how the plant physiology is. So when you do water them, then it does give you a difference in growth, and it doesn't quite work. I don't know in terms of strength or whatever of the thing. So generally the answer is no, we don't actually water these trees. We do water them sometimes when we're transplanting and there's a little bit of a dry spell, and then we have to help the trees grow, because now we decided, rather than let nature take its course, let's give it a booster. And you know, human beings, you know, interfering with nature, that's what we do. We interfere with nature and we tell nature what to do, when to do it, where to do it, how to do it. Are we kidding ourselves? I don't know. So there you've had it. We've had a a look at some of our tree plants that we've got here. I looked at some of the successes that we've had. There was the pines from 2020, which are growing amazingly. Sorry, just closing the bottle. And then there was the eucalyptuses from 2021. And here I'm standing in the casuarinas from 2021 as well. And mixed results, but generally it's okay. A lot more videos coming to you as we keep sharing our journey on the different parts of the farm. We talk about vegetables like onions and peppers and eggplants and other things. We talk about soya beans and other field crops that we grow during the farming season. And then, of course, where we all started from, Winterthorn Farm started amongst the trees. Long-term vision to do something that will be able to help look after us in the future. So you have trees like these casuarinas here, the eucalyptuses that we saw earlier, and of course the pines as well. My name is Chisha Folotia. I enjoy my chosen thing to share our journey here on the farm with you, and hopefully you'll be able to join us again here on the Mondo Farms channel. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe. There's a subscribe button at the bottom, and if you press the ding little bell icon, it will tell you when a new video comes, which I promise is around about every 7 to 10 days or so, as soon as I can film and edit and do all the other things that I have to do. But you can also like the video. Press the like button. That's the thumbs up thing that YouTube puts down at the bottom. And you can comment below if you've got some interesting questions that you can about what we're showing and sharing here. And then you can also share the video. Press the share button and be able to share it across your social media networks with people who would be interested in something like this. We get a lot of support from all over, and we're very grateful for each and every one of you who does reach out to us, who takes time to watch the videos, and we always look forward to interacting and for being able to mutually benefit. You take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.